a lot of Bucs smoke and mirrors coming. Will Golston being back, I don't think that changes much, does it?
Not at all. It just means more depth, especially somebody who's familiar with the defense. I mean, they go with anybody, best player on the board, like Gene mentioned last couple of pods we've done. So I'm pretty excited, pretty stoked about who they decide to get, or they might even trade back. I mean, you never know.
And
It's all
yeah, we talk best player available, but point is, Will Golston doesn't eliminate them from taking a D lineman, does it?
not at all. Nope. It just doesn't at all. No, they can go D lineman if they feel comfortable taking him, and I'll be all for it if they took a D lineman in the first round.
I would be all for too, and we'll see if that happens. And I brought that up on the great JC Allen's podcast, the Pirate Parlay on Sick Media Podcast Network with JC Allen. And this was about a month back, maybe even more, actually more, probably 5-6 weeks back now. If you guys missed it, I'll link the episode, go check it out. But me and JC were chatting, and I said, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if U of I D lineman Newton maybe caught the Bucks eye, and at the time we both said he probably won't fall, but now he might, and you never know. All kinds of people might fall, right? A while back, as my buddy Nick Negretti joins us, saying let's go. Thanks for joining us, Nick. We appreciate it. But a while back, Plus and I were talking how JPJ might fall. A lot of people were saying, oh, he never lasts to the Bucks. Now you see some people mocking him to the Bucks, if not later. You just never know with the NFL draft. And I think that's really going to happen as Cleve and me joins. He'll be joining live at 7:10 Eastern. He's joining the comments as well. The truth will set you free. What's up? What's up? Speaking of set you free, the Gene Hot Seat Challenge will set you free. I think I'm ready to step into the role tonight. I think I'm ready to step into the hot seat, Gene. I'll nominate myself, as JC Allen says, sup, fellas. Dr. Plus says JPJ will be available. Yep, me and you tried to tell that to people a month or so ago, Plus, and some people didn't listen. But now you see, you look around, and, well, you're starting to notice he might potentially be available. But JC says screw interior O lineman round one. Yes, JC. Thanks for being late. You would have heard us say we prefer D lineman if you didn't join late. Just kidding. But Gene, I'm ready to step into the fire, brother. I'm ready. Should I get the clock ready?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Just give me one more second here.
Yeah, no, take your time. But yeah, we talked, JC. I pretty much mentioned actually how on your pod I mentioned, hey, maybe we'll take an interior D lineman, and you know, at the time it was kind of frowned upon by some. But hey, now it seems like it might be an up and coming thing again. So we'll see. And that was the Pirate Parlay podcast, the Sick Media podcast with the great Jason.
Yeah, someday I'll get on there.
Hey, Gene, he said you're working your way there, brother.
Yeah. This has been like 2 years that he's been doing this. So yeah, we'll see.
No, JC, you know, he's a busy guy. I think he started that in September, I want to say he started this podcast. So I'm sure he'll get you on. You guys will have a beer, whether it's on air or in person.
Oh yeah, man, that's my guy. I remember when he first started. I remember when he was actually commenting.
Joshua Cole Ellen at Bucks Life.
Yeah, he was actually commenting on podcasts, just doing his thing, man, and it was great. And then he's just parlayed that into what he has now. He's really, you know, it's just been incredible to see what he's done.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very
all right,
incredible.
so this is going to be a little different this week. The hand holding is over. The buy and sell, the basically the, you know, contender pretender, that kind of thing. I think we're moving on to where you have to make some hard decisions here. So we're gonna see how this goes, and if this works out, I think we may have just found a new direction. Especially we want to kind of tune this up going into the regular season. I will be working. Shout out to Smack Apparel. I will be working with Smack Apparel. We'll be getting some listeners at least once a month. Try to get somebody a T-shirt. Try to get more involvement. Because as I say, the fans make this, and if the fans aren't able to do their thing, then what good is the show, or what good is my show, or what good is any show, to be honest? And just getting fans engagement is very important kind of moving forward. So again, this is going to be pretty exciting, just being able to do this. And I think we are ready to roll one more. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm amped to step into it. We're going to get fans' involvement on Hot Seat Challenge and so much more as the season creeps closer and closer.
I'm super excited about it.
I am as well, and we still got to pick our beer of the year, and fans are going to help us pick that as well.
I think we should start that right after the draft, or we could start it right before the draft and take it on through.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe.
If you're listening right now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you're on right now, if you got a favorite beer, drop that beer somewhere so we could get a note of it. And possibly if we do use your pick, there may be something in it for you. So just stay tuned. But yeah, I do have all my questions ready.
I am ready whenever you are. I could start it. I started the music already just to get us those vibes going.
All right, who's got the clock?
I got it going. Or J-Lo, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and as you know, folks, how this works is 10 questions, 1 minute. Got to get them, got to get them all. There's no wrong answers. Just kind of roll through. And I'll ask the first question, and then the clock will start. How about that? All right? So, first question. This AFC team, not named the Chiefs, has the most potential to make it to the Super Bowl this year.
Buffalo.
The AFC has a better quarterback team that has better quarterbacks than the NFC. Buy or sell?
Buy.
Pats, Bears, Bengals, Titans, Chargers. Which one has the best opportunity to go from worst to first?
Bengals.
Who is the most overrated player in the AFC?
Russell Wilson.
Which AFC team has the most depth on their roster?
The Chiefs.
How would you rate the performance of the AFC teams in free agency?
B+.
Who was the most impactful non-quarterback player in the AFC?
Jonathan Taylor.
Which AFC coach needs to win now to secure their job for next season?
McDermott. Yeah, it could be solid, but I'm going McDermott.
Oh, man. 2 more questions. I'm going to let you get to the questions first. Which is the most underappreciated player in the AFC?
Most underappreciated player in the AFC. Let's go with Joe Burrow.
Which AFC team has the strongest defense?
Let's go with the Ravens.
There you go, man.
I don't know. I said McDermott. I might have whispered or murmured it, though. My bad.
Okay, we'll go with McDermott. Okay. Questions are a little bit harder. And you know what, guys? If you guys want to conspire against me and come up with some questions, I'm always down to do that, too.
No, those are good ones. I caught myself tripped over a couple because
exactly. That's what I said. I had to turn up the heat a little bit, fellas.
I tried to make mine make sense too, though. I'm like, if the Bills if I think Bills could go far, their coach is probably going to be on the hot seat because they haven't been winning too much lately. And to me, they've been winning regular season. Let me correct myself. But come postseason, and then, their quarterbacks, it's hard to think of most valuable player as well. You got a lot of star power outside the quarterback room in the AFC. But to me, Jonathan Taylor, very meaningful to the Colts for whatever reason. It seems as if the Colts, they don't neglect the tight end and wide receiver room, but they build more around the run game. They always add the offensive line. They always add to the running back room. And now I'm really sitting here and intrigued with how Jonathan Taylor will help not only the Colts, but Anthony Richardson's development in the 2024 season. I think he plays a crucial part, not only to the Colts, but the AFC landscape in general.
And great minds think alike. Question 4, when you asked who is the most overrated player in the AFC, I had Russell Wilson on my board as well.
Yeah, and that was one where I had like 3 or 4 names in mind, but I was like massaging the brain. I'm like, I don't want to be caught up and say the wrong cat here. I think Justin Fields could really catch this kid. And,
I believe he will.
I think it could happen as soon as week 3 or 4. And that's not a knock on Russell's career. He's had a hell of a career, but just his body language, his dedication the past couple of seasons, it doesn't seem like it's, the 2015 Russell Wilson anymore. It seems like something changed. I'm not sure where that changed.
I can tell you where it happened. When he threw the pass instead of getting the ball off to beast mode.
Mm-hmm.
That from that point forward, if you go back and look at the trajectory of his career after that play, he was donezo, and he's never been the same since then.
And
He
to
has been.
yeah, he could be a has-been, as you said, J-Lo. And to piggyback off Gene's point, as we're joined by the great Krillin, Christopher Cole, Justin Peter Bautista, as we're moments away from Joey Nibs from Cleveland me joining. But to piggyback off your point, Gene, I know a lot of people, including Russell, a lot of other fans and people in general want to piggyback and blame the Seattle coaching, which is fine. But just remember, if you're a quarterback, you have the right to change every play if you really wanted to. And Russell could have changed out of that play. He could have threw out of the back of the end zone. He could have threw it elsewhere. Russell decided that. I think that's a very good point that it might be Russell Wilson. Speaking of point, well, let's make one pick here quick before we keep winding down, as it is our mock draft coverage. It's our NFL draft time. And just to go over our mock draft so far, we have done picks 1 through 9, and tonight we're going to be doing 10 through 15. Tonight's picks will be the Jets, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Saints, and then Joey's going to join us for the Colts pick. And the picks so far have been Caleb Williams by Juice from OnTap Sports. He came on and joined us for the first pick. He picked Caleb Williams. The guys at the Command This podcast ultimately picked Drake May second. Some controversy there. Patriots went Jaden Daniels with JC Allen, the great JC and millions from Sports Illustrated. James Mundo, fantasy expert James Mundo, came on fourth and picked Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals. Number 5 with the Chargers, it was our celebrity pick from Walter Draft. Malik Neighbors went to the Chargers. 6, the great Cujo, the wrestler, joined us and went Keon Coleman to the Giants. 7 was J-Lo with the Titans. He went Joe Alt from Notre Dame. I picked 8th for Atlanta. I picked Turner, the edge rusher, Dallas Turner. And then number 9, we had Juice text in the program and pick Rome Odunze for the Bears. And now it's on to number 10. And I believe, J-Lo, that leaves you on the clock with the New York Jets.
Yes, it is. And it was very hard to decide on what to choose because they could add a playmaker and a Brock Bowers, give Aaron Rodgers another weapon at tight end, or you could be smart and protect Aaron Rodgers so he don't get injured again. So with that being said, with the 10th overall pick of the 2024 draft, the New York Jets select Telase Fagua, offensive tackle, Oregon State.
I like that. They got to protect the quarterback. They got to protect Aaron Rodgers with all their might, with all their strength, for everything they can. And to me, the Jets aren't the Jets this season, a competitive Jets, if they don't protect Aaron Rodgers. What say you, Gene?
I don't know. I think you have a Aaron Rodgers coming back when he's not throwing out his conspiracy theories. You got Aaron Rodgers out there, and I know you have to keep him upright. So I definitely see that as an ideal pick. Could you possibly go to wide receiver?
I could see them going wide receiver as well. They did sign Mike Williams, but it was only 1 year contract for the great Mike Williams. So
And
I
plus,
will say this: the best ability is availability. And with Mike Williams, I love Mike Williams. I like what he does when he's on the field, when he is healthy. But again, how's that going to work out this year? You can't. I'm sorry, and I know that injuries happen, but I wouldn't be, if I'm a Jets fan, I can't be 100% confident that this guy's going to make it all 17 games.
no, you can't. But also, Mike Williams is coming off a torn ACL with a torn ACL, torn Achilles. He's coming off an injury, so we don't know how good he's going to be. And plus, Aaron Rodgers at his age, coming back from his injury, you don't know how healthy he really is. So I figure you get a lineman, he could play guard. That's where he'll probably move to. And he's a very good blocker who could play tackle, but go ahead and put him in at guard because I believe they brought in Tyron Smith from Dallas, and then they traded for the right tackle Morgan Moses. So They got the tackles already, so you get the other guy, put him at guard, and then protect Aaron
Morgan
Rodgers.
Moses?
Yeah, Morgan Moses.
Yeah.
He got traded from Baltimore to New York. So they're definitely trying to protect Aaron Rodgers. They don't want to go one game and he gets hurt again. Then guess what? Season's over. I mean, that was pretty much it for them. And they can always go get a receiver in the second round or third round. I think they got a third round pick. They'll just have to trade up. They have to.
And it's deep at receiver, so I think the Jets might just do that, like J-Lo was saying. Maybe round 2, maybe round 3. We'll bring Huncho back in here in a minute. It does look like we got him back, but you guys made this too easy on me. Well, not you guys in general, but the playing field of the mock draft. I'm just submitting the Vikings pick now at number 11, J.J. McCarthy. I mean, I think if he's still on the board there at 11, it's almost a no-brainer for them. Me personally, I'm not huge on McCarthy, but they need a quarterback. Sam Darnold isn't going to be their future. He might be a one-year bridge guy at best. And I honestly like Michael Penix a lot too. I don't think I like him enough to take him at number 11. You might even see the Vikings try and trade up to draft a guy like J.J. McCarthy. I think they'd be very happy if they got him at 11. And he'd work real well with Kevin O'Connell. And, I think J.J. McCarthy would be very happy with having guys like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Aaron Jones at his disposal. I think that's extraordinary value. And plus, as Krillin says, plus is everywhere. Plus has much better value at 11 than 3. We'll start with Huncho here, then we'll bring our guest in. Hunch, what say you on J.J. McCarthy going to Minnesota at pick 11 if that were to happen?
I mean, if he stays on the board, that'll be an awesome pick for them. I mean, who wants to start this season with Sam Darnold? Come on. But I had a couple teams taking him maybe ahead. I had maybe the Patriots probably get him ahead of them, or maybe the Washington Commanders, depending on how high they are on Jaden Daniels. So it's just a couple places. If he makes it to 11, though, you have to take him.
And I think so as well. And reminder, that goes Fua, the O-lineman from Oregon State, and now J.J. McCarthy, the QB from Michigan, going 10 and 11 tonight. Broncos 12. J-Lo will be picking from them. I'll be the Raiders at 13. Then if Huncho or the great Gene have a Saints pick at 14, we'll hammer that down. And then Joey Nips from Cleveland, me joining us here momentarily, is going to be picking 15th for the Colts. As Christopher Cole says, JJ to JJ. I almost spat out my food. Who wants to start their season with Sam Darnold? So true. I mean, that doesn't sound appealing to you guys? Sam Darnold a little bit? He got annexed from the Jets. He went to San Fran.
I'm thinking that my man Kurt, not my cousins, looks more sexy than Sam Darnold start there. So I'm sorry. I just can't see it. I'd be really depressed as a football fan if I had the prospect of that clown playing, to be honest. I'm just.
And to me, Gene, that's a great point. To me, when Minnesota said, Kirk Cousins, we're not going to match your offer, to me, that all but is sure that they're going to take a rookie QB round 1. As you said, they're used to Kirk Cousins playing quarterback, who isn't great, but he's a hell of a lot better than Sam Darnold. They're not going to settle for Sam Darnold. So we'll see where that goes and how that goes. Speaking of where that goes, the man, the myth, the legend himself, not the final boss, we'll call him the first boss tonight, the pre-boss, the little boss, the Cody Rhodes man himself, Joey Rhodes, he goes by. I don't think Brandy approves of that name, but we'll see where that goes. The great Joey Rhodes from the Cleveland Me podcast is joining us. He's going to be talking Colts offseason, some Bucs ball with us.
Joski.
He'll be making the Colts pick at 15. We're a couple of picks away, but why not have him join us here on the Buccateers in the meantime? Joey, how the hell you doing, brother? And welcome back to the show. It's been a while for you, I think, since November now that you made your way into the ring here on the Buccateers.
Yes, you seem to not like me very much as you play a heel role most times. So, I work my way on. When
my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut.
No, but I couldn't be happier. You guys helped me out so much over at Cleveland Me, from, J-Lo to Gene for years now. Tones, obviously, is one of my co-hosts. It's an honor to join this side of things because I love talking football just as much as I love talking wrestling. And I'm here to do the Colts pick. And just like Cody Rhodes finished his story, I'm hoping the Colts finish theirs, and it's a great season. So we'll see y'all in Tampa Bay. We'll see you guys in the Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah, real quick, Joe, to run through the picks again, just to get your thoughts on it. Caleb Williams went 1 to the Bears. Drake May went 2 to the Commandos. 3 went Jaden Daniels to the Pats. Arizona went with Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. Malik Neighbors went 5th to the Chargers. Cujo, the great, went Keon Coleman to the Giants at 6. Joe Alt, the big Golden Domer, went to Tennessee at 7. Dallas Turner, maybe the best edge in this year's draft, went 8th to Raheem Morris. Roma Dunze went 9th to the Bears. Talayasa Fua went 10 to the Jets from Oregon State. And then J.J. McCarthy went to the Vikings. As a Colts guy, obviously we still have 12 to 14. But if that's how the board shook out, 1 through 11, how are you feeling as a Colts guy sitting at 15?
I'm feeling good because the 5 guys, you know me, I follow this team daily, listening to all different podcasters, reporters, radio. My 5 guys have not gotten chosen yet at all, would be realistic for this. So I'm very intrigued. And going off of the picks you just said, to make a little comment about the picks so far, the 2 quarterbacks that I'm really going to be looking at this year, and if they did fall in those spots between the Patriots and then the Vikings where you had McCarthy, it's interesting to me because the Patriots do not have much to surround a quarterback right now that's young. They have a new coach, which I like, Gerard Mayo, but he's a defensive-minded guy. There is not much at receiver. There's not much at running back or offensive line. So to me, the rookie quarterback going into that situation would have a tough year 1. Now McCarthy, I heard you guys talking about Sam Darnold. Who wants that? Well, what better golden child than J.J. McCarthy coming off the bench and being with good talent in Minnesota potentially, which could be an easier situation. So I like the Colts odds. And if that board lays out, J.J.'s got a real good opportunity in Minnesota where I think it'd be tough for Daniels to navigate New England.
Yeah, Gene, before we get a couple more picks in, J-Lo's next here with the Broncos, we re-signed Will Golston. The Colts obviously not re-signed because he was still under contract for this season, but they extended DeForest Buckner. I think you said you may have wanted him in Tampa, Gene. Quick thoughts and comments on DeForest Buckner landing back in Indy, and real hope that you had of him coming to Tampa down the road.
I've been a huge fan of DeForest Buckner since day one. Plus can tell you about that. He was a guy that I saw him as very consistent. And I just didn't see a ceiling for this guy. You know, when he was with the 49ers, he looked good, and he's found a home in Indy, and he's continued to play at a high level. I see nothing but good things for him. I think he's one of the cornerstones that you would build a defense around, and I think he's a guy that you can expect big things from him, and he will remain consistent, for the next few years.
Yeah, Joey, any thoughts on that?
And to add a note real quick, Gene, because you're so right on DeForest Buckner. And, you could look at the stats and they're all there. The guy takes double, triple teams. He's still getting his 10 sacks a season while helping out his ends. But one thing I heard today, you love to hear this. He's the first guy in. He's the last one out. He's the definition of a leader. He's what you call a professional athlete. We like to say professional wrestler. This guy is a professional athlete, and he shows it in his leadership. And he's not the loudest guy, but when he talks, everybody listens. So shout out my fan, Defo.
And quickly, before we get to the Broncos pick with the great J-Lo, Joey, it is a Buck show. So quick thoughts on William Golston returning to the Bay.
I just love, first off, I have a hater friend, Tim Crawley, who took $100 bet that the Panthers would do better than the Bucs this year. So I already cashed in that $100 because that's just a joke.
Panthers better than the Gene, did you hear that?
Yes, Panthers over Bucs. That's how people think Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, is tattooed somewhere on my body, I won't say where. People say that he had his golden season. He's going to be downhill. Chris Godwin doesn't show up all the time anymore. The team got, a little lucky to be where they were. The Buccaneers are going to win this division again. They're going to prove it. And why? They're stable from the top down. They have a great owner and GM and Jason Light. Jason Light steers that ship under head coach Todd Bowles, who proved the haters wrong. When we saw him for 32nd at Coach of the Year, do people know what they're doing when they rank these things, or are they just trying for a little sneak preview?
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah. So William Golson, though, I know you specifically asked about him. I think it's good to keep camaraderie. Great depth piece. People don't give him enough credit. He does a lot of things that won't show up in the stat book. He's good against the run, and he's a great body to have. So I would think the Bucs are continued success, and you'll see great things this season from him and Tampa.
How the hell does Todd Bowles, right, wrong, or indifferent, coaching decisions indifferent, get ranked 32nd on that damn list behind Dennis Allen? Behind a clown like that? Behind Fatso Mike McCarthy, who's checked out of every game in Dallas by halftime, thinking about what Wendy's burger he's going to get his hands dirty on after every game. How the hell are those guys ahead of a guy like Todd Bowles, who overachieved last year in a year where people were laughing at the Bucs? He not only brought him to the playoffs with a $4 million bargain bin quarterback, but he won him a playoff game as well. It blows my mind, J-Lo, the disrespect that we get from the media.
Haters, man. Haters are going to hate, man. The social media world, the reporters, they don't care about us. And that's fine. That's fine with me. We're, 3 years in a row, division champs. Won a playoff game last year at home, dominating the Eagles. Not just dominated, but we whooped their ass, kicked them out of the stadium, almost came back against a team like Detroit. Let them hate. At the end of the day, we love our butts, and we're going to have their bats no matter what.
And you know what that music means, J-Lo. You are on the clock, my friend, making the pick for the Broncos since we gave you the floor. Might as well have you finish your draft pick, not story. What's it going to be, J-Lo, at 12 for the Denver Broncos? And, Gene, if you ever want to drop in your little draft chime, feel free. Not sure if you have that around, but feel free, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
I know he wanted to do that for so long. I bet.
Like music to my ears, man. But, man, Tone, you made this a really difficult choice for the Broncos. J.J. McCarthy was going to be the selection, but since he's no longer available, so with this pick, the Broncos can go anywhere because they need help everywhere on their team right now. So with that being said, with the 12th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. You bring this guy in, he's an immediate starter. After they traded Bradley Chubb, they weren't the same team on defense. So you bring in a guy who's ready to play, and he's going to bring a lot of stats and pressures for the Denver Broncos on defense.
And there you have it, folks. And that just goes to show here on the Buccateers, we're not like the rest of the Bucs fans, right? That's a Florida guy picking a Florida State kid in his mock draft, right? Usually Florida fans pick Florida State.
That one cut deep.
He's up.
Yeah, that is crazy. Huncho, thoughts on that pick? If the Broncos did take an edge rusher, Sean Payton going defensively. He's usually an offensive guy, but Broncos could use anything they could get right about now.
Yeah, they definitely need anything they can get, especially paying that high contract still to Russell Wilson. So, I mean, I don't like Sean Payton or the Broncos, so whatever they do, I hope it improves. But, yeah.
And that leaves me with the Raiders pick. Gene, thoughts quickly on the Broncos? I know you're not a big
I'm with Huncho. I hate the donkeys. They can do whatever they do. John Elway is on the hot seat. Hey, the clock is ticking, bro. You better get it right. That's all I can tell you.
He might have got crisped a few years ago. I think he might have been. I'm not sure. He might still be tied to the organization, but I think they packed Elway's bags a year or two ago just because of what you said, Gene. He's on the hot seat, and I think Denver said, you know what, we're better off without you.
I guess I should say Denver's on the hot seat then, because it's just been bad.
Yeah, but regardless, your point still stands, whether it's Elway or someone else. But I think they ran Elway out of town a couple years back. Joey, thoughts on Denver? They're in the AFC, so you guys see them a little more than we do. Does an edge fit them, you think?
I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong. They've done Sean Payton's going to be a failure there, so it's not really going to matter. I feel bad for the
He's a
rookie that
punk.
goes. Yeah, I mean, I was a Russell Wilson semi-hater, and now I like Russell Wilson because I hate Sean Payton even more. Hate's a strong word, but yeah, you know what? Screw it. I hate him. I also hate the Saints because they beat my Colts in the Super Bowl, so that guy is forever forgotten.
Hank
But
Basket had his mind on the wrong thing.
yes, he did. And one thing I will say, it was interesting how Jeremy was going to do a quarterback and then pivoted because McCarthy wasn't there. I think I would have gone Bo Nix in that spot personally. I think they could still use that young QB. I know Bo Nix is very controversial. He didn't have a really, he revitalized himself though. Jalen Hurts, when he was on, he had to transfer Alabama to Oklahoma and revitalize. Bo Nix did the same thing when he went to Oregon. So I think I might have taken that risk, but edge is never a bad thing. You can never have enough pass rush.
I couldn't agree more. And
my bad. Tone.
Someone there from the dark. Hello.
I was saying I could have went Bo Nix or Michael Penix, but I think those two are going to fall a little bit in the first round to where Denver can trade back in and go get the quarterback. I think right now they need to go with one of the best players available. I think Bo Nix is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's a ready to start now quarterback. He has to sit and learn the game. Even though they don't have any quarterbacks to teach him, that's the problem with Denver. They're so broke and poverty right now, they can't even sign a quarterback. They got to go what's on their roster. So my best guess would have been, to wait and sit on getting a quarterback later in the first round and trade back up. That's all I want to say on that.
Yeah, you never know with the Broncos and Sean Payton and gee whiz, what the hell they might be doing, right? It's like they might be doing a lot of things. Speaking of a whole lot of things, I'm going to go ahead and make the Raiders pick since I'm yapping right now. Wow! Right on cue. Commissioner Gene, thank you. It's been a great honor here. And with the Raiders pick 13th overall, I'm going ahead and selecting Penn State offensive tackle Olumiyawa Fasanu, the big man, the junior, the redshirt junior out of Penn State. And the Raiders need to build up the offensive line in the draft. New general manager Tom Telesco over there, he's hit on most of his first-round picks with the Chargers when he was doing business over there. That's not his problem. It's the later rounds. I think Fasanu might have the highest upside of every single tackle in this year's draft. I know J-Lo took the kid from Oregon State earlier. I like him as well. But I think that Fasanu has the highest upside. I'm going with Olumiyawa Fasanu. And I know that, they don't have a receiver or a quarterback right now either necessarily, but kind of what other people were alluding to, I think pick 13 might be a little too early for Bo Nix or Michael Penix. So instead of overreaching, why not go with the best player available for your biggest need available outside a quarterback, a big old tackle? And we know how Penn Staters are in the NFL. I think they do just fine. J-Lo, thoughts on that pick?
No, it's a good pick. I mean, he is one of the top tackles in the draft. I would have selected, for the Jets, but since the Jets got two tackles, because to me he's a premier tackle, you got to go guard. But I like the pick. I feel like I agree with you. They can also trade back up and get a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix. I think Michael Penix has got a lot of, talent to where I think he could be the pick for them. But I think they can wait to trade up to get him. Go ahead and get the tackle so you can protect him.
And J-Lo, one quick thing. Their QB room's pretty crowded. I consider it a lot of backup quarterbacks. Like, you got Aiden O'Connell, the rookie from last year. Gardner Minshew had a nice year in Indy. Then Anthony Brown, former Ravens backup. You got a lot of backups over there, but I don't know if they're going to draft a QB and make it four guys competing for that starting spot. Maybe Anthony Brown's the odd man out. Joey, what say you? Do you like the offensive tackle pick given that they signed the Colts ex-QB in Gardner Minshew?
Yeah, if Gardner Minshew, or O'Connell, but I hope it's not O'Connell for their sake. It was hard to watch him play football at times, but Gardner Minshew, he's good when he has good protection. He's not going to be your prototypical RPO scramble guy. He could get out of the pocket a little bit. He's honestly a poor man's version of a Baker Mayfield. He does a little bit of everything Baker does, just not as good as Baker. So if you give Minshew protection, I like obviously that they have Jacobs and Adams. They have the staples and the weapons. So if you could protect the QB, the Raiders might have more success under what I like is a great hire in Antonio Pierce. I don't think he's just a one and done hype guy. I think he's here to stay in Vegas, and he fits the mold of what you need in the NFL. He's a badass. So I think that's a good pick.
And Antonio Pierce has done a nice job building up that coaching staff over there as well. He got Marv Lewis to help him out, longtime coach in the league. So that's a good hire. I believe Hugh Jackson's going to help out over there too. So anytime you could load your cabinet with former NFL coaches, I believe you're doing the right thing. Gene, quick thoughts on the Raiders, and we'll get Hunch, and then it'll be the Saints pick. Whoever wants to take the Saints pick. If not, I'll take it.
Jump on this. I'll jump on the Saints pick because I have a lot to say.
Hell yeah! So Huncho,
That's the punter.
So what I really wanted to say here is when you got more than two quarterbacks, you have a quarterback problem, and that right there is concerning. When you have that many quarterbacks in the room, that tells me that there's nobody that stepped up and grabbed the reins to make it their own. So I really hope, because I do like Antonio Pierce. I think that was a great hire. I think we need fresh blood in the NFL, and I think he's the guy. The Raiders long overdue to reintroduce themselves, and I hate Kansas City, so I would love to see the Raiders do better. And I hate the Donkeys, so either the Chargers or the Raiders. I'd love to see them do well.
I agree with you, Gene, and I love the Donkeys. I love that, man. Huncho, quick thoughts on the Raiders picking a offensive tackle, and do you think it's a smart thing to do? And as Gene said, having all those quarterbacks is like having no QBs, but do you really want to add a Bo Nix or Michael Penix to that muck? I feel like things would just get maybe even muckier for them.
Man, they might as well add another little ass boy to the QB room. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say. I mean, the Raiders, they're going to be the Raiders. And I ain't like the Raiders in a while. So if they roll with Gardner Minshew, he's not a threat. I'm not scared of him. He'll put them, like Joey said, he'll put them in a better position, I believe, on the field than O'Connor. But I don't feel like that's enough to actually make you contend to actually win the division and make a run for it. So you're going to have to do something if you trade up or something. But if you're rolling with Gardner Minshew, may God believe with you.
To me, what if I'm them, and then we're going to get Gene with the Saints pick as we are live on the Bucketeers, is our guy Neil L is in the house, and you know the drill when Neil's on the house. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on. But the thing with the Raiders, I just feel like they're in the middle of no man's land. If they draft the QB in round one, that QB flops, they're done. If I'm the Raiders, I go with Minshew this year, and then in the offseason, I trade Devontae Adams, accumulate more picks for him next offseason. Then you're probably going to have a top 10 pick next year. That's when you zero in on a QB, because the last thing you want to do if you're the Raiders is do what the Steelers did. Waste a first rounder on Kenny Pickett just because he's available, right? Steelers needed a QB. They took him just because they needed a QB. Why? Who knows? They were just as competent with Mason Rudolph under center. So to me, whether it's Bo Nix, Gardner Minshew, Anthony Brown, Aiden O'Connell, I think they're all going to have the Raiders around the same spot this year. And, no matter who they pick, I know it's the NFL and anything could happen, but injuries aside, they're not going to do better than the Chiefs. Let's be honest with ourselves. And they probably won't do better than Harbaugh this year, at least. Maybe next year. And that's what I'm saying. Wait, save your stock for next year. Use your QB pick next year on one of the top kids coming out next year. Don't settle for QB 5 or 6 in this year.
Will they go wide receiver, being that they let Renfro go? How do you feel about that? Or just rolling with Devontae Adams?
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, if the receivers fell to them, I wouldn't be completely shocked if they went wide receiver. I think they could use any offensive help they could get. But again, it's just one of those things with the Raiders. They do have Devontae Adams still, and they do have Jacoby Myers still. So it's like, how high do they prioritize that now? Again, I just said Adams might get traded, so that'd be smart of them to draft his backup now instead of waiting. So I could certainly see them going with the kid from LSU, Brian Thomas Jr., or maybe a Brock Bowers, something along those lines, if the if the shoe fits, not like OJ and the glove fit, and we're talking if the shoe
Yeah.
fits here. All right, so I do think that could happen. Huncho, that's a very punchlines or trouble lines, either way. Gene, I know you're a big Saints guy. I just know how much you love the Saints.
If you can't
Fuck the
tell,
Saints.
Who that? Who that?
You have
I'm wearing the shirt, so
you have the greatest honor of making their pick.
And with the 14th pick in this 2024 NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints select Laiatu Latu, edge rusher from UCLA.
And how mad
Exactly
would
why I
Bucs
hate
fans be?
Exactly why I hate them.
Ooh.
How mad would Bucs fans be? Because a lot of Bucs fans are clamoring for that kid right
I'm
now.
going to tell you why this could potentially happen. When you look at Karen Jordan and how he's been playing over the past couple of seasons, Tristan Wirfs has been, he's just been getting destroyed by this Bucs line that he's been so happy to make fun of over the past few years, and now he's not making any noise. He's not doing anything. You see him a lot more on camera in the offseason, in the combines, in the Super Bowl, which he'll never actually win a ring with, but he can actually attend it as media, which is what he deserves. So as you see this guy and you see how his career he's on the back end of his career, you've got to get somebody in there that you can try to rebuild this team. But as long as you got Mickey Loomis, they'll be kicking the can down the road. They'll be in salary cap hell probably for the next 10 years. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you're not lying, Gene. It is what it is. I think that's a smart pick by then. You see Bucs fans stank and muster. You see Plus saying worst case scenario. Our man Bud says Gene woke up and chose violence. Hashtag heal Gene. Plus says he thinks Saints go O tackle, but they need pass rusher as they can't count on Chase Young.
They did go get Chase.
Counting on Chase Young.
See, that's how good Chase Young is. We all forgot he ended up with the Saints.
Man, that guy fell off hard. I do know this. The fellas with the podcast, the Commanders guys, did have decent things to say about Chase Young. They allege that half the Commanders' success up front was because Chase Young was taking double, triple teams. I don't really buy it too much. Again, I see where they're coming from, but the proof's in the pudding. He did not shit on a San Fran D-line that was the most loaded we've seen in quite some time. Joey, quick, before you give us our Colts pick, what say you on the status of the Saints and kind of if they did go edge rusher?
Oh, well, the status of the Saints is about as good as, dog
status
shit.
Of my tax return?
Yeah. I was going to go real dark, but we'll go, look, the Saints really don't have much going for them. They keep Dennis Allen at head coach, who's pretty much a sleaze. The quarterback position, Derek Carr, he's okay. He was decent with the Raiders and now this. So the draft pick, they need a lot of things, but edge rusher could help them. Cameron Jordan, he does more talking than playing on the field these days, so that could be helpful to get back there. But I don't expect much for the Saints. I think this is the year it really goes south, and then Dennis Allen will be fired in about let's go 10 months.
No, don't fire him, please. Keep him around. Please keep him around. Please.
Give him a raise.
It's like Art Smith. We wanted knockoff Big Cat to stay in Atlanta. Please give Dennis Allen a lifetime contract. I tried to tell people back in the day, if you get fired from the Raiders and you can't find another head coaching job because you got screwed by the Raiders, you're probably not that great of a coach. He was an ass clown in Oakland, and he's an ass clown in NOLA. He's a good D coordinator, but some guys are meant to just be coordinators and nothing more. That's Dennis Allen, in my opinion. Joey, time to pay your big bucks. This is what we brought you here for. Pick number 15. The Colts are on the clock. If you're Jim Irsay, who could be doing a lot of things, but no, I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad he's with us for another NFL draft. But if you're Jim Irsay, if you're Shane Steichen, if you're Chris Ballard, whoever the hell controls the power button out of those three. Who the hell are you taking at 15? I think your guy's on the board. I think he has the same initials, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see if you go there.
It's tough because all the guys I had ready for the show are still on the board. Our biggest needs are cornerback and receiver / tight end. So with the 15th pick in the 2024 NFL draft, I am going to go Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. And the reason I do that,
Okay.
and I had to go head over heart here. The reason I had to do this is because, look, if you look at the Houston Texans game last year where the Colts played them in the last regular season winner go home, first play of the game, they took a touchdown right off the top deep, 75 yards without nothing, CJ Stroud. I think they also just added Diggs, and that's the team to watch. The Jaguars, they're overrated to me, but they have receivers as well. So between Diggs and other weapons like Tank Dell, who will be coming back for them,
Right.
I think you got to solidify this cornerback room. We all know Kenny Moore. He's a great corner, but we need to pair him up. Let's get Terrion Arnold. How can you go wrong with an Alabama defender? These guys are professional athletes. He'll fit well in the locker room. That's my pick.
And they have Juju Brents, Kenny Moore. I think he'd go very well with those guys. And
I'll
they
tell you how
tried
you
to
go wrong.
They tried to get that lockdown corner a couple of years back with Stephon Gilmore. He was growing old. Now they have another chance to get that lockdown corner. I think the Colts would be ecstatic if they were there at 15 and they had their choice of LSU wide receiver, of Brock Bowers, or of Terrion Arnold. I think they'd be pleasantly surprised. Gene, what say you? Colts go in defense.
I think that's a good move. I don't think it's a reach. I think it's it's somebody that they can put in that position and not have to worry about it, and they can move in and address other issues. So yeah, I would definitely I could definitely see him in a Colts uniform, and I think it's a great pick.
J-Lo, thoughts?
Yes. By the way, Joey,
He's
What do you wanna-
disappointed in me. He is disappointed.
Yeah,
in me.
J-Lo, you sound like a sad soul. I know Brock Bowers was his guy. Just disappointed.
wanna
And
talk
you're
about?
it's a mock draft. Anything could happen. Huncho,
I
thoughts?
know.
Thoughts
It's-
on pick number 15? Colts going with Terrion Arnold.
I heard Joey say, "How can you go wrong with picking a Alabama defensive guy?" And I'll tell you how you go wrong. Draft somebody named Mark Barron, and you'll figure out. Real soon.
Okay, touche.
Vernon Hargreaves Jr. Draft somebody like him too.
Well, with Mark Barron, I just think he was with the wrong team and the wrong lineup.
He had a pretty good career in entirety.
Yeah,
In the position.
yeah.
He went to linebacker, right?
He won a
Yeah.
Super Bowl with the Rams, I think.
Did they win that year? Did they win the Super Bowl
He,
that year?
he,
Yeah.
I think he did.
And then I remember he was with maybe Pittsburgh for one season. But regardless, I guess he could
It was
go.
a stupid ass reason the Bucs drafted him. That's the only tarnishing, I guess, thing about him was why they drafted him and where they used him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when
and,
we had that no fly zone shit, or wasn't that?
well, yeah, I mean, we had
CIA
Darrell
was open.
Revis, we had Deshaun Goldson, we had him.
That was
lot.
That was a bad. On
And
paper,
I
that
just
sounded
checked.
good.
Mark Barron was actually on the Rams he left a couple of years before their Super Bowl. Then, like I said, he went to the Steelers. But then what I forgot about, he had a mini pit stop in Denver as well. So he really pinged the pong at the end a little bit there. Fellas, before we let Joey Nips go from the Great Cleveland Me podcast, our podcast all about wrestling.
Boo.
No, Joey, no.
J-Lo, if you
Ooh.
interrupt one more time, damn it, I can't even get a word out. And I can't
Somebody's
even
going
see
through a table.
Right, yeah, I'm gonna put his ass through a table. And wouldn't it be bad if I could see the guy? But fact of the matter is, it's like a voice coming out of. It's like Uncle Howdy or something. It's like,
He's cutting the promo tonight.
yeah, what the hell's going on here? I just see voices from the laughter of the darkness of J-Lo's corner. But no, I love it. I'm just messing. Gene, we'll start with you. Any last questions surrounding the Colts, their offseason, or just questions for Joey in general?
Right now, I know for me the most important thing is consistency from the top to the bottom. And with your coaching situation, with your GM, do you feel like they've over the past few drafts have been working well together to get the ideal team on the field, or are we seeing a lot of injuries that have prevented the Colts from really doing something in the postseason?
Okay, you asked two great questions. I'll start with the first one. Actually, the second one first, and that is you mentioned injuries. Listen, the league should be put on notice because Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson got one snap together last year.
Mhm.
One snap in a game. Are you telling me with RPO options with Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, who 2 years ago got third in MVP votes and 2,000 yards rushing, mixed in with Richardson's arm strength and leg ability, that we cannot take this somewhere? So I think injuries have played an unfortunate role, and that's why you see us bringing back a lot of people. We're not really bringing a lot of outside free agents. We're re-signing our own. Grover Stewart, Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner, Michael Pittman Jr. we locked up. Shout out Michael Pittman Sr. So we've built a continuity that I think will carry us to success. We were 9-8 with Gardner Minshew and Zach Moss. You upgrade to Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. To me, you can go from 9 to 11 wins. Now, you asked on the first part from the top down. It's put up or shut up time. Our GM is in year 9. Year 9 of this thing. We have one playoff win. So I love Chris Ballard. He gets a good rap around the league, but eventually you gotta win. We're here to win. You could be nice, you could have a good culture, do all that, but if you're not winning playoff games at the end of the day, you only get so long. As for head coach Shane Steichen, I think he could have been coach of the year last year. I think from Philadelphia, you saw how Philadelphia kind of broke down last year. It's because this guy was not at the offensive play calling. Nick Sirianni got a little bigger than himself. He put Matt Patricia in a coaching role. I think that was a really poor decision. You saw what Shane Steichen did for them and then did for the Colts. We were up there in offense with, again, Gardner Minshew at quarterback, Zach Moss at running back. So I think it's put up or shut up time for the GM, but I think we have a coach who could be here for 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons.
Great.
J-Lo, final words for Joey Nips. Any last questions for the big guy?
First and foremost, thank you for joining the show, Joey. Can't wait to party with you and your brother next week. It's going to be a fun time coming to Chicago.
Next
We're going to
week.
A13 over there, up there in the cold, if it's cold. Anyway.
Yeah, you're not ready. You could take the smack now because I'm going to drink you under the table. That's what's going to happen. So you're not ready for the.
Okay.
Joey's the
Acknowledge
man.
him.
Acknowledge him. Okay. Bet.
Acknowledge me.
All right, J-Lo, any last questions, buddy?
Yeah, on a serious note, on Anthony Richardson,
Yes.
as most of you know, I'm a big Gator fan. I enjoy watching him at Florida. If he stays healthy, what are your expectations for Anthony Richardson for this season?
Obviously, it's going to come with some bias here, but I will say, and I will put my money where my mouth is, if Anthony Richardson can play at least 15 regular season games and obviously carry us into the playoffs, the Colts will win the AFC South this year, and people will be proven that Anthony Richardson might be the better choice than CJ Stroud going into the next offseason. So I think his health is huge. His body frame, he's Lamar Jackson's speed and Big Ben Roethlisberger's body. You put that speed and body together, you just got to stay healthy. I know it's a bold prediction, but I can see us winning the AFC South and getting to 11 wins with a healthy Anthony Richardson.
I could see that. I like that. I love AR, and obviously J-Lo's a big guy, as that's his Gator co-part. Huncho, any last thoughts, questions, or concerns for Mr. Joey Nips on today's show?
Joey, man, long time. That's my guy. Joey's a real one. Tone's got a great family. I mean, everybody in their family. I mean, you got it made, pal. You got it made. For real. He came with me my first baseball game ever for my birthday. I remember that. Mad love.
Rangers, Rays.
Stunner. Yeah. Everybody heard Stunner.
That was hilarious, man. Stunner, I was sitting next to Stunner, and the place was so quiet, and Stunner was talking, and everybody could hear him in the whole stadium, bro.
He got put on warning.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I appreciate you, dog. Stay safe, and everybody tell pops and moms I said what's up.
Will do. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Joey, well, I see you all the time, but still great seeing you on the airwaves, brother. Whether it's Cleve and me, Buccateers, whatever it might be. Let us know what's cooking in the kitchen for Cleve and me. And any last final thoughts? I'm very interested to see how the Colts patch together. They're going to have another run-heavy offense. You're going to have a healthy Taylor, hopefully Richardson. So exciting stuff there. But whether it's Cleve and me or Gridiron Talk, just give us your final word and last thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I will talk a little wrestling for a minute since that is my podcast at Cleve and Me. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us, any of your places, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And, I've had a lot of buddies who don't watch wrestling, watch WrestleMania. They know about AEW. Now, a lot of people who were haters or maybe not interested are loving this product. You go out there, give wrestling a night shot, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, give wrestling on TV a shot and try to enjoy it. Because I'm telling you right now, if you have kids, they'll get latched onto it. And at your age, you'll be excited as all can be. These guys are athletic as all hell. They can do it all. And it's a great storybook TV show. So if you had never checked out wrestling or never given it a shot, these guys are amazing at what they do. And woman, do not forget about them as they grow. At Cleve and Me, give wrestling a shot. Go Colts. Fuck the Saints. See y'all later.
Poor Ray Ripley. That was
on that one, Joey.
My draw.
Plus says he has to watch a WrestleMania replay. It was a great one. Quickly, Joey, before we let you go, thoughts on Mania before we bounce you.
Not even lying, it was probably top 3 all time. The organization done by Paul Levesque, known as Triple H. It's, when you get a new owner in any sport, from the top down, as Gene mentioned, it has to be the same in wrestling. It's the TKO ownership with Triple H, The Rock. WrestleMania was awesome. John Cena made an appearance. Lil Wayne made an appearance. A bunch. Jelly Roll was there. Snoop Dogg, George Kittle. I mean, you want to talk about? We can go on and on and on. Pat McAfee announces it was a jam-packed, and I already can't wait for next year.
And millions, and that is the great Joey Nips from Cleve and Me. Joey, we'll get you back on throughout the year.
BUCCANEERS. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
We'll get you back throughout the year, whether it's preseason game or just on our bye week or something in general, brother. It's always great talking. And you got the wrestling guys up now in the chat, so great to see.
Finally.
Bud said it was awesome, plus saying it was great. So thanks again to Joey Rhodes. That was awesome stuff there from the Cleve and Me podcast. Good stuff. And that's why I love these mock drafts. You get to pick brains of other football people, personalities, fans. We had Bears guys on, Commanders guys on, Cardinals guys, Colts guys, Patriots guys. The hits keep coming and coming. Speaking of hits, Baker Mayfield has been hanging with the boys, Scotty Miller, Blaine Gabbert. He's been hanging with Tristan Wirfs. He's been all around. So I'm going to give my final word to the great Bake Show and say kudos to you, Bake. You're not only taking the NFL by storm, you're not only being the champion of the offseason, having a baby, prepping yourself, but you're hanging out with all the right kind of people too. Tristan Wirfs, making friends with your O-lineman. Scotty Miller, a guy who's nothing but respect. Same with Blaine Gabbert, both in the Tampa area. Kudos to Bake. He's surrounding himself with good people, and that often ends in good things. My final word is great job so far this offseason, Baker Mayfield. You're making Tampa proud. Right. And if you play as good as your offseason is going, we're going to love you even more. Mr. Huncho, final word?
Now that you mentioned Baker, man, it's just Baker, he gained my respect and extra notch of love from me because his birthday's on the same day as my daughter's birthday. So I was like,
shout out to her. Happy birthday to her.
Right, he's an Aries too, so it kind of like I kind of see Baker's down to earth and he pretty much gets along with everybody. I'm glad he's having a chance to reinvigorate and reestablish himself again with this culture in Tampa, and I like it. It's better than Cleveland. I'm out.
Yeah, it surely a lot of things are better than Cleveland, but surely the Tampa environment and culture is. Mr. J-Lo from the dark, before we end with the cleanup hitter and the king of the table, Gene, what say you, J-Lo? Final word for the program, brother.
First and foremost, I love y'all very much, man. You're all my brothers. I always enjoy an awesome time talking some shit, kicking it. Yeet. And plus, Baker getting along with the fans, and the players. You gotta love it. He's a new dad. Welcome to fatherhood. April birthdays are awesome because I'll be turning 34 next Tuesday. So, I'm a tourist, and at the end of the day, he's an April guy. Love it. And Tristan Wirfs, give the man the bag, pay the man, pay Antonio Whitfield Jr., get them their contract extensions, and let's get the ball rolling, fellas.
Gene, the king of the table, the head of the table, take us home, man. It's been a fun one, getting everyone's thoughts on the Colts
and after last year, man, I just really felt
stupid.
And I gotta say, I apologize, Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles. I was wrong. The Buc What Ya Heard apology tour continues, and I will continue to apologize to these guys if they have totally made me eat my words and prove that they belong here. The Tampa Bay area just has an effect on certain people to where they change. I mean, you saw it with Tom Brady. You're seeing it with Baker Mayfield, and it's Tampa. And I'm not afraid to say that the jewel of Florida, the jewel of the East Coast, I will call it, is the Tampa Bay area. So, when guys come here, it changes them, and they become better versions of themselves, in my opinion. And that's what we're seeing with Baker Mayfield, especially when we saw this guy and everybody had all these knocks on him, and he came here, turned himself around, and he's become the leader that everybody thought he would be when he was initially drafted. So I'm really happy with the coaching staff, with the upper management, ownership, everybody doing what they need to do. And this is a great time to be a Bucs fan. Great time to be a wrestling fan.
Great time to be a wrestling fan, a Bucs fan, a sports fan in general. I guess a fan of JPJ, as Bud said. I know a guy who knows his brothers, sisters, daughters, mother-in-law knows the guy who took Baker Mayfield out to dinner. Awesome fucking stuff. Awesome stuff, guys. Real well done, really well done here in the Buccateers. We will be back Thursday with more draft picks. I think we'll have picks 16 through 20 on Thursday, and then before the draft, we'll make our way to the Buccateers pick. So it's been beautiful, from the Hot Seat Challenge to Joey Nips from Cleveland, me joining us, to all in between, Bucs talk, NFL talk, and so much more. 3, 2, 1, touchdown Tampa Bay. Gene from Buc What Ya Heard throws it to Huncho, who laterals it to J-Lo, who gets lead blocked by Tones into the end zone. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Guys, you guys have a great Tuesday night. I'll see you gentlemen on Thursday. Be safe, fellas, and until then, I'll catch you on the Lido.
Peace.
And if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Get the table! Woo!
Stay blessed.
Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy and electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buc fans were there too. Pete Buck.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little